All right, let's start by looking at some of the problems we didn't do so hot on. Amazingly, it seems to be the same ones in each of the classes, so let's go to work. All right, number 2 and number 4 were in vertex form. Okay, vertex form. So you should have been able to find the vertex rather quickly and easily. The vertex for number 2 was 3, -1. How do we know that? Well, we take the opposite of what's on the inside. We take the opposite of what's on the inside because, remember, it's wearing makeup. It's not exactly as it seems. Then you take whatever's on the outside, and that's your y value. Okay, so 3, -1. 3, -1. Now what? Well, technically, I'm supposed to pick 2 points on either side, like there are x values of 2 and 1 or 4 and 5, and I'm supposed to put it into a t-chart, right, and get those values out and then plot them and mirror them across the axis of symmetry. However, I don't have to do that. That's just an option. What's the other option, the one that we like better, Canadians? Yeah, use our A value. In this case, our A is 3. So I'd go up 3, 1, 2, 3, to the right 1, up 3, left 1. That's enough points. There is my parabola. Remembering? Let's look at the second one. What is my vertex? Ooh, don't everybody talk at once. -2, -3. It should be that easy to see. -2, -3. Now that I have my vertex, what do I look at, eh? Yeah, look at A. And what is my A here? It's a -1. So down 1, right 1, down 1, left 1. There is my parabola. Okay. We liked graphing them in vertex form. It was very easy peasy lemon squeezy. Okay. It was quick and easy to do. Number 7, only got 30% of us got it right. What do I have to do for number 7 and why? Well, first of all, what form's it in? Standard form. Okay. Not only is it in standard form, but there is junk in the trunk or a linear term. Anytime there's a linear term, I must use anybody. Yes, sir. Very good. X equals -b over 2a. So in this case, that will be -8 over 2 times 2, which is -8 over 4, or a -2. Now that tells me the x value of my vertex, but I still don't know my y. How do I find my y? Well, that's easy. We've been doing that all year. Plug it in. Let's plug it in. F of -2 then equals 2 times -2 squared plus 8 times -2 plus 5. All I did is plug it in. Now simplify it. -2 squared is 4. 2 times 4 is 8. Minus 16 plus 5. 8 minus 16 plus 5. -3. -3. Now I know my vertex. It's -2, -3. Again, I'm supposed to pick some points on either side and plug those in, right? But I don't have to do that, do I? I can also use what, eh? Yeah, use my A. In this case, my A is 2. So up 2, right 1, up 2, left 1. Now, this would also happen to be in standard form, right? When it's in standard form, I know that my constant also tells me another point, right? My constant tells me that this baby's going to cross at 5. The y-axis, going to cross the y-axis of 5, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's that point. And then this is my axis of symmetry right here, so I could reflect that over the axis of symmetry. And I get a whole nother point there if I wanted those. I mean, I don't need that many points, right? But more points, the better. Yes? I know that when it's in standard form, that's a lot of work. And I know you're not really happy about doing all that work, but it's doable, yes? It's not something you can't do. It just means you got to work. One more. Number 8. Again, only 30-some% of us got this one. Again, it's in standard form. Again, there's a linear term or junk in the trunk. So I have to use x equals negative b over 2a. So in this case, that'd be a negative 16 over 2 times 2, or a negative 16 over 4, or a negative 4. Again, that tells me my x value of my vertex, but I don't know my y. How do I find my y? Glade. Plug it in, plug it in. Nice place on there, Niller plugins right there. So 2 times negative 4 squared plus 16 times a negative 4 plus 35. Just plugging it in. Negative 4 squared is 16. 2 times 16 is 32. Minus 64 plus 35. Negative 32 minus 64 plus 35, I believe, is a positive 3. Yeah, 67 minus 64 is a positive 3. So my vertex then is negative 4, 3. Negative 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3 is right there. Negative 4, 3. Again, I could use values and put it in a T-chart, but I'm not doing all that work. I'm going to go right to my A. A is 2, so up 2 over 1. A up 2 over 1. There's my parabola. That's really all we need to do on those questions of the day because it was multiple choice, right? Questions, comments, concerns? Good refresher? All right, let's go back to what we were talking about the other day. You need to have paper and pencil if you don't already. Let's refresh and move forward. On Friday, we began talking about intercept form, also known as factored form, okay? We'll be calling it intercept form here for while we're graphing it. Later, when we start to factor, we'll be calling it factored form. Same thing. Remember that y equals a times x minus p times x minus q, where p and q are the x-intercepts. What's another name for x-intercept? Yes, sir.
Zeros.
Yes, the zeros. We got one more name for x-intercept. The solutions. Good. You got to remember that. X-intercepts, zeros, solutions all mean the same thing. And P and Q are those x-intercepts, zeros, or solutions. But I got these two arrows up here pointing to the negative sign in the middle. Why? Because remember, that's opposite. So whatever we see in the problem is going to be the opposite of the intercept. For example, when we looked at this problem, f of x equals 2x, or 2 times x plus 3 times x minus 4. Excuse me, a little tongue-tied there. What were our intercepts? They were the opposite, or a negative 3 and a positive 4. Okay, we talked about all of that on Friday. So let's try to do a couple of those here today. One more time, the x-intercepts. Intercept form tells us our x-intercepts, zeros, or solutions. All mean the same thing. So on this red one, what would my two x-intercepts be? Anybody? Negative 3 and a positive 1. Excellent. Negative 3, plot that on the x-intercept, and a positive 1, plot that one on the x-intercept. Now that I have those two values plotted on the graph, now what do I do? Well, I need to find the middle, because exactly in the middle between any 2 points on a parabola is the axis of symmetry. Now, there's two ways I can do that. I can just count it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, 4 divided by 2 is 2, so I'd have to go two spaces. So 1, 2 would be right here. The axis of symmetry would be right there. Now, just a quick reminder that I could have also just taken those values, like -3 and 1, added them together and divided by 2, or found the average between those two, right? So -3 plus 1 is a -2. -2 divided by 2 is a -1. Guess what my axis of symmetry was at? X equals -1. Or it told me my X value of my vertex. So if I know my X value of my vertex, how in the world do I find my vertex? Wow, it's like deja vu. It's exactly what we just did in our problem of the day, right? If we know part of the vertex, don't we just plug it in? All right, so let's plug it in here. So I'm going to find f of -1. Now, this is a little bit easier plug in than it is when it's in standard form. For example, I've got -1 plus 3 times -1 minus 1. Well, -1 plus 3 is 2. -1 minus 1 is a -2. And then 2 times a -2 is -4. And that tells me the y value of my vertex. Cool? Y value of the vertex is 1, -4. 1, 2, 3, 4. There it is. Do I have enough points? I do. I don't really need any more points, but could I find another point if I wanted to, eh? Sure I could, eh? Just look at my A value. My A value here happens to be a 1. See it there? Now it's gone. So up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. There's more than enough points. You remember us going through this process and talking all about this on Friday, yes? Let's try another one. I want you to try this next one on your own. You can graph it on the same graph if you'd like. Try that one right there. Y equals 2 times x minus 2 times x minus 6. I'll give you 30 seconds, and then I'll jump in. All right. Looking at this one quickly, I can see that my X-intercepts will be 2 and 6. Okay, plot those points. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 6. Find the middle between those 2 points. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2. My axis of symmetry will be right here at, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4. At x equals 4. So that tells me half of my vertex, right? Sure, it tells me my x value. How do I find my y? Excellent. Yeah, plug it in. F of 4 equals 2 times 4 minus 2 times 4 minus 6, which ends up being 2 times 4 minus 2 is 2. 4 minus 6 is a -2. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8, and of course that would be a -8. So my vertex then is at -8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Way down here. Do I need another point? Not really, but I'm going to go ahead and use my A to find another point. My A is 2, so up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. Boom. There is my parabola. Cool? Cool. I want to do one more before I let you go, and that's this one down here in blue. Okay, this one down here in blue. Now, I'm going to go ahead and talk about it because I want you to understand something. Does anybody think that that one's in vertex form? By show of hands? Kind of looks like it. I mean, we could think that there's a 1 there and a plus 0 right there, and that's most definitely vertex form, isn't it? Absolutely. Absolutely. So now that you realize that, what would my vertex be? Very good. -5, 0. But I also want you to think about it like this. Doesn't that squared right there just mean we multiply that times itself? So doesn't that also mean x plus 5 times x plus 5? Does, doesn't it? And then what are the x-intercepts? -5 and, well, that's the same thing, right? So do I have to write it twice? Absolutely not. So my x-intercept is going to be at -5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now here's what I want you to get. Anytime that you have a vertex that repeats and it's the same thing, guess what that is? Excuse me, I just gave away the answer. Anytime I have an x-intercept that repeats, so you only have one x-intercept, what is it actually? Since I gave it away, it's the vertex. Anytime that you have a repeat, like -5 and -5, well, that means there's only one x-intercept. And if there's only one x-intercept, then it is the vertex. So I wanted to bring that to your attention because you may see one of those in your homework tonight. Okay? So that's my vertex. Now what do I do? Okay? I use my A value. Go up 1, over 1. Up 1, over 1. I really don't need any more points. So there's my parabola. That's one that's going to look a little bit difficult, a little bit hinky, a little bit funny. But you can think of it either way, as it's in vertex form, or you can think of it as in intercept form. Doesn't really matter to me, whatever helps you out, whatever floats your boat. Cool? Excellent. Have a great day.